Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Meeples and Monsters is another bag building game, and these are quite popular, but you don't see a whole lot of these. Now, I got the Kickstarter version with the silkscreen Meeples, and it's going to look very good. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But I don't think the Kickstarter and the retail version are very, very different other than some component issues. You're going to have three phases of the game. The first one's going to be development phase. And this is where we're going to put actions out on the board. You're going to build these buildings that will give you goodies if you build them, but you're going to be utilizing your people to do so. You can also upgrade Meeples once you get more color, get away from the white and gray ones you start out with. You can upgrade them to more powerful ones. And that's taken care of very easily by you gain a card. And that card's going to have all the information to put on your tableau, which you're already utilizing your tableau, right? And then the next phase is the worker placement. You're going to place your Meeples down, and usually it's going to be spend these Meeples to get more Meeples, or you can go fight monsters, which each of your Meeples are going to have an attack power. You see to equal or exceed what the monster is. Very simple. No dice in the combat aspect at all. This works great because you're pulling 4, 5, or 6, depending on where you're at in the game, of these Meeples out of the bag, and those are the ones you can utilize for the round. Once they're used, they go into the lodgings, and you'll grab more. So you want the right combinations to come out. You can't just pile on and get a whole bunch of worthless ones that aren't going to play to your strategies, because you need the right combinations to come out. That leads us into the quest. The quest are where you're going to spend or score most of your points, and it's going to have you doing different things. Some of them might say, hey, have a yellow and a red Meeple win a combat. If you do, you get these points and maybe this additional power that's going on. So you need, from the bag, certain Meeples to come out and certain combinations to score. There's also some that score now, have ongoing powers, like I said, and some that will score at the end of the game, like have 6 orange Meeples or 6 black Meeples at the end of the game inside of your bag and in your system. So this bag building we see from Orleans, I think Orleans is probably a heavier game. Maybe it's a better game, but this is going to be in the lighter fare. This is going to be something where it's very easy to do. A lot of what you're doing is putting Meeples on the board to get different colored Meeples, and then spending those Meeples or upgrading those Meeples so you can defeat the monsters. And defeating the monsters is how you're going to score points also, that in the quest, and how you're going to pursue towards the end of the game as it sneaks up on you. Meeples and Monsters is a lot of fun, but I really like bag building games. I think it's a very good one. The rulebook holds it back just a tad, I think. And it's not as deep as, say, Orleans, Altiplano, maybe. But this is going to be one that's very straightforward. I think a lot of people, if they give this one a shot, will enjoy it quite a bit. I could see possibly this should be a jumping off point for gateway gamers. You know, like a 1.5. You know, if 1 is like that gateway, Ticket to Ride type game, this might be a 1.5. It's a little bit of a jumping off point, a little bit extra going on. But I think people can clearly understand it. Because a lot of times you're just spinning the Meeples to do other things. I think you can play this with people who don't play a lot of board games. The stronger you feel with the rules, and the stronger you feel with the game, the easier it is going to be to teach with other people. So that's where my mind stands. Very good game. The theme works. I think what you're doing in the game makes sense. The bag building is something we've seen before. Not a whole lot new, but I think it works in an excellent way here. Meeples and Monsters will be one I'm keeping, and I've been playing the heck out of this game. There's a solo variant that works pretty well. I like this one quite a bit. Keeper. Here is Meeples and Monsters, the Kickstarter edition, so know that as we go through it. I really do like this cover quite a bit. I think it looks pretty fantastic. We'll take a look at the rule books in a few minutes, but this right here is used for the solo game. Then you're going to have an expansion that will come with the 4 towers and solo experience, and you're going to have the regular rule book. Also, you're going to have these nice bags that will come with it. They all say Meeples and Monsters on them, as you can see, and they come in 4. And they're big enough to actually put my hand in, which is much appreciated. You're going to get this little board right here, which will have some monsters and the scoring track on it. It's very nice. Each player will have a different named location. You'll draw the people out. Then you can put the cards over this to signify their upgrades as they're going in. Very nice little player board. There's going to be 4 of these. You're going to get a board, which is pretty much your standard board. It's going to come out into 4 squares. You're going to have your monsters coming out here on the side. You're going to have places for buildings and the 4 towers expansion built in, and then a little worker placement here in the upgrade. So a lot of what you need is right here on the board. Very nice. And the artwork, I like that little cartoony look on it. Inside here, I mean, it's good to know they're going to get a bunch of Meeples. All the Meeples in here are going to be silk screened with different characters on them. While I really like that, a lot of times in the game I have to flip them over to see what color they are. And these will have a bunch of different ones that will come in here. They're all nicely silk screened. You're going to have a bunch of cards. So here are the monsters that you're kind of fight through with all the monsters. Just kind of your standard things here. But there are some like a giant woodpecker and stuff that's in here. It's very nice. You're going to have your quest cards, which will basically be all icons. And this up here will tell you when you will score them, etc. The cards have a nice feel to them. I do like it. They shuffle pretty well. And you're going to get a number of buildings, which will be these nice tiles that you'll have. And they look really good with just different icons on them. I think they work perfectly for those respects. And that's what we're going to have. Kind of a nice place to put everything. I'm not really sure what this insert was all about and why it's just a bunch of spots of where to put things. But I kind of just threw everything in here. Here's the rule book, which is a very striking cover. You're going to open it up. You're going to have a picture of components that you can see here. And they go through each one and kind of label it and tell you how it's all set up, which I really like. Here's a picture of setup over here with numbers corresponding to what you do, which is great. And if you have the Kickstarter edition with the expansion stuff, it's listed right there. So very, very nicely done. Then you have your turn sequence as you go through. And the combat with the different units will do, the resolution, and the draw phase. There's really only 3 phases you'll do in the game. You'll have your quest explanations, the ending of the game, which takes a little bit to get used to, and scoring, and then a fact over here to answer some just little questions you might have, and a nice icon list here. I wish there was an almanac of all the cards and the icons, what they do. I did mess some stuff up. It was in here, but I was able to not be able to reference it as well as I liked. Don't let that throw you off. The rulebook is very, very good, and you won't have any issues with it at all. I'm just going to do a quick overview of the game. So this is what your player board will look like, and you'll have a number of meeples that you'll start the game out. On your turn, at least when the game starts, you're going to draw 4 of these out and put them into your tavern. Now, the corruption ones really don't do anything. Maybe the 4 Towers expansion, there is some use for them in that, but otherwise, you just throw them in your lodgings. That's where you're going to put your discard. Then these are the guys you're going to be working with. After you place them out on the board and do whatever you want, they will go into your lodgings, and then you're going to draw 4 more from the bag. And when you have 4 more, you put them in your tavern, and you're set up for the next round. During the game, you're going to be gaining extra these little meeples of different colors, etc. They will always go straight into your lodging when you earn them. And then when you draw from the bag and you don't have any more people, you draw whatever's left. And then when it's empty, you'll take everything in your lodgings, you'll throw them in the bag, give it a nice little shuffle, and finish drawing up. And that's how the rounds are going to go turn by turn. You're also going to have these cards down here. These are built onto the board, but they represent cards. So this tells you that a level 1 black will give you 2 power in a fight. A level 1/1 will give you 1. But you can go on the board and you'll be able to upgrade these. So you'll take the card of it and simply put it over this. Now this is a level 2 and he has a 2 fight. If you upgrade him to level 3, which is the highest, you still have 2 fight, but he's going to give you a little power each time. Each of these have the ability to be upgraded twice to a level 2. So when the black one becomes level 2, it has a 2 fighting power and a little power. And when you flip it over to 3, it went up to a 3 fighting ability and additional power. Each of these can be upgraded to a 3. In addition, there is the Shaman, the Paladin, and the Ranger. You can also get off the board. And when you get those, they just kind of sit off to the side wherever you want them to be, showcasing that you have them and you have their abilities if they're drawn from the bag and you're ready to use. You will always have 6 monsters out on the board. The first thing you can do on your turn is you can do what's called the development phase, which is down here through the center. You can put 2 of these white meeples out from your tavern, and you could build a building. There will always be 4 of these buildings face up that you can choose from to build. If you choose the one you want to build, and you can put it on top of one of the locations. So if I put it here, that's fine. I will gain 1 white and 1 blue that will go straight into my lodgings. And that's one thing I could do. Or instead of doing that, I could place 1 here from my tavern. Then I would take 1 from the supply, put it here, and then build. So then I'm adding white people to my lodgings, which is also adding it to my bag. And the white are the weakest ones. So I can always pick to choose 2 from my taverns or just spend 1, but I would have to gain an additional 1 from my bag. What you're going to do over here is you can always do 1 of these. You can place out if you happen to draw a yellow, red, black, or blue. I can place 1 here. If I want to upgrade it to level 2, or if it's already level 2, I can upgrade to level 3. This is how many victory points I have to give up in order to upgrade that. And then I would just take the upgraded card into my service. So if I'm upgrading to level 2, give it the victory point, add this on my player board like I've already shown you, and now I have all my yellows will be this round now. So after you've done the development phase, you can take all these back, put them in your lodgings. You will not need them for right now. Now the next part of the board will be in here on red, yellow, black, or blue. Any ones I have in my tavern, I can simply play out to the different locations and take actions. So for example, if I wanted to put any two meeples here, I can do so. And then I would gain a red meeple for that pleasure. But this one has a minus on it, which means I would discard this and put it back in the supply. It will not go back to my lodgings. At the end of the round, these will go back to my lodgings. Now, I can do any of these. I could do the buildings that have been built, or the ones printed on the board. If I happen to go to a location, let's say I had these, and I want to take care of this location, and it has enough monsters on here that one of these are being covered up as a +1, that means when I go back to my lodgings, I have to take an additional white one with me. You don't really want to gain white ones because they are your weakest, and they kind of clog up your bag. If there were 2 blue ones here, then I would have to add 2 white ones to my bag, to my lodgings, if I want to take one of these actions in this center right here. The other thing I could do is I could always fight a monster. This one right here has a power of 5. If you remember from our player board, each of these are going to have different powers, an attack that they would do. So I put 1 yellow and 1 black on one of these, I would have a 4 power. That would not be enough to beat the 5, so maybe I have to take somebody else with me. If I defeat it, I get the victory points listed, and I get whatever bonuses that here. So this one would be a +1 to all my blacks. And then this will go in my victory point pile, and at the end of my turn, this would shift down, and another one would come out, which just so happened to be blue, and a new monster would come out and be the ability to fight. At the end of the game, you're going to score points for all of the quest cards that you're able to accomplish. These will have different things and score you points. You lose points if you are unable to accomplish it. Whoever has the most victory points is the winner of the game. Who should buy this game? I think this game is for anybody who wants like a light to mid-sized Euro. There's not a lot of these bag builders out there. So if you want a bag builder on the lighter side, or you played Orleans quite a bit, this will be something that will definitely interest you and bring you into it. There's some worker placement aspect into it, and in different phases kind of shake things up. There are a lot of decisions in this game. There's a lot of things like, should I do this or that? Because you're very limited in how many meeples you're going to have for the round. So being able to make those decisions of what is best for you and your strategy, which is really working towards your quest cards, you want to be able to do that. So I think those type of people that enjoy those kind of decisions are going to enjoy this game. I think your family could play this, 8, 9, 10 up. I think it'll be fine. It's not a very complicated game. It worked well with 2. It also worked well with 3 and 4. Didn't have any issues with that. I would add those towers expansions in pretty quickly. They open up the board. They open up your options pretty well, and I like that aspect of it. This has been a winner for us, and we've been playing the heck out of this game. Keeper for us.